We currently have some incredible developments to discuss today, my friends, as we could potentially sign both Osimhen and Omorodion in this same window. Today, I'm here to break down all this evening's big reports coming out. So my friends, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hit that like button, share your thoughts and opinions too, my friends. Let's not waste no more time and let's get straight into things. Very quickly, my friends, but as you now know, the new away kit is finally released and my lord, is this thing a beauty. Now, I'm waiting to order mine. I need to have all the kits this season. I think they look absolutely amazing. If you're someone that also feels the same way and want to help support the channel, use my affiliate links below in the description and in the card above. And don't forget to use DD10 at checkout to get 10% off your final order. So good luck with that. And let's get back into the news. I'm going to start things off by breaking down each news story for each individual striker before ending things by discussing how I think everything could potentially play out and the utility behind these moves. So we start things off by discussing Omorodion first because as confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, Atleti are set to accept a £35 million package for the young Spanish striker. Reports are already confirming the fact that contract terms have been discussed and Omorodion is set to sign a 7-year deal and will receive a big salary rise as well too. Now, Atleti will only complete the green lighting of this move once they've officially signed Julian Alvarez first. They're getting incredibly close now to completing this move right now, but it does seem like after much deliberation, we are now set to sign a striker we've put in a ton of work into over this summer to try and get signed. Now, Omorodion is open to joining us, which makes a ton of sense considering that Atleti now have confirmed Alexander Sørloth and are close to finding that agreement for Julian Alvarez. There will be no space for him in that system considering that Felix may potentially remain, Griezmann is still there, and with how Simeone sometimes likes to use a back three system. Omorodion has only scored 8 league goals so far in his very young career, but there's big potential and upside to how the club see him and also see how he develops as time goes on, because already at his young age, he is a handful for defenders. He can back into defenders, he can win most of his physical battles, he possesses explosive pace in behind, a very good leap aerially, great shot power behind his strikes, and for a fee of around £35 million, around 40 million euros, that ticks a lot of boxes. This is someone with a long-term game the club sees that will sign on very competitive wages, and if he's successful, if he does grow, this will be looked at as one of the bargains that we've made in the future, right? So, you know, I have more thoughts and opinions, but before I give them, I think it's time to discuss the latest news surrounding Victor Osimhen. And we have not given up on potentially striking a deal that involves Lukaku still going to Napoli and Osimhen coming our way. Now, big reports coming out from The Guardian and from Matt Law himself too, so there's definitely something substantial to discuss today. We are still currently negotiating with Napoli to find the best agreement for both players. It seems like this deal in particular though could go right to the wire, could go right to the final days of this window. But there's belief something can happen considering that Paris Saint-Germain have called their interest in Osimhen. They've recently signed Pacheco and they've also signed João Neves from Portugal. Outside of Paris Saint-Germain, Arsenal haven't made concrete efforts just yet, so the market for Osimhen is not very big. Right now, we are learning that we are currently negotiating with Victor Osimhen and his team on the exact makeup of his potential wage packet if he was to sign for us. Now, Victor and his team on around 12 million euros net, which is around 10.2 million pounds. And as I've been saying for so long, Napoli simply just cannot afford to keep Victor at his current wages without regular title contention. They don't have the funds to maintain a player on such a big salary, so eventually they'll have to reduce their demands. We're seeing that. So I guess it is pretty promising to learn from reports that our club are now willing to be flexible with our pretty rigid wage structure that we've seen in full force this window. You guys know I'm still hurt that we didn't sign Michael Olise. I'm not going to get into that before you guys turn this video off right now, but we're learning that the club see Osimhen as a star player who has that commercial appeal not only for our club but also for the Premier League as well too. So it's another facet behind why negotiations are quite complicated, because You have to take into account things such as the calculations, of course, the calculations for his image rights, bonuses, clauses, how you can structure the deal. But to end things, there's still big hope that we could potentially engineer a loan move for Victor Osimhen. We don't know yet though whether this potential loan could include an obligation to buy. Could the loan possibly have things like clauses that get activated after a certain amount of months, league position or goals? We did learn from previous reports that maybe Victor wasn't too inclined on a loan move because he wants his future guaranteed. He does not want to go back to Napoli. When he moves on now, he needs to be somewhere he can settle. So we'd have to find the right loan agreement if this is something that is potentially viable. So now the news is out the way, let's continue this conversation on, because the big focus of today's news is the fact that we could potentially sign both Osimhen and Omorodion in the same window. Is that not overkill? Is that not a bit crazy? What happens with a host of other strikers that we still own, guys like Broja, Nico, Gu, and other forgotten guys like Washington and Dacho Fofana? Now, Matt Law confirmed this news, and he reports that there's a belief at the club that Nicolas Jackson could possibly play minutes out wide down that left flank. Now, system-wise, we know that Maresca prefers to have those 1v1 direct style wingers in his team, and Nico has shown promise in the few games he did play there last season. But there's also some arguments around that. The arguments are, is this the best thing for Nico's current stage of his development? He had a very promising first season in the Premier League, 14 goals, 5 assists in a new country, new league, new club, new everything. I think he composed himself quite well. Should he not continue playing up front to further develop and build from what he did last season? There would be potential competition from both Mudryk and Raheem Sterling unless there's some crazy surprises in store for either one. But from seeing how we benefited from Nico's link-up play when he would drop deep, move to the channels, I think football-wise, he has the most technique that could really complement the existing setup in the team right now. So let's see what happens, because in my opinion, my personal opinion, it does seem like overkill to have all three in your squad at the same time. I think carrying 3 strikers is a pretty bold move. You look at players like Mark Gu. I guess if this did happen, it automatically means that Gu is getting a loan move, which could be good for him. The club may think, you know what, Gu's a long-term prospect. By the time he's 20, 21, which is still like 3 years away, we can really properly assess, is he the guy that is set to spearhead us? And if he is, we've signed this kid for next to nothing, and we can probably sell other players in preparation for him coming back to the first team. I understand what the club are doing with this type of hoard it until you make it mentality. I think it still comes with risks. It's not like a guarantee that everyone develops equally, but you can see the foresight behind this type of strategy. But in my opinion, I feel like if a move for Omorodion and Osimhen happens in this same window, it simply comes down to this. It would confirm that there's big possibilities we could sign Osimhen on a loan move, because here's how I see things played out. If we have Osimhen on a loan, it gives us the time to assess how he does. If he does well, we commit to signing him on a permanent deal or whatever. If he doesn't, well, we have Omorodion who's waiting in the flanks. And similar to how Nico needed a full season and maybe like half a season to really acclimatize to life in the Premier League, if we sign Omorodion, we can't fool ourselves into thinking he's been signed to bring in 20-25 goals. He's probably still like 2 seasons away from that, but at least Omorodion would have that season to gel and bed into the club and the league. And if Osimhen didn't work out, Omorodion would be in a better place for the 25-26 season, alongside Nico and potentially alongside Gu too. And in that sense, I see some parallels between our efforts to sign Joao Felix, because Felix was signed because he was seen as the big guy that could guarantee us Champions League football. And I think this is the same energy we'd have for Osimhen. He'd be the guy that would put us back on the map. And once we get CL football, a lot of the finances make a lot of sense. We're struggling to get the best commercial deals because brands don't feel too confident by our brand, because we don't have Champions League football, European football. There's no like guarantees right now that justify the big money we want companies and brands to sponsor us. As I've been saying throughout this window, if we had CL football, we'd be a lot more ambitious this window, and wages wouldn't be at the forefront of every single decision we make right now. And I can see the clubs thinking, they think, if I have Osimhen spearheading that attack, and you have Palmer and Nkunku, potentially those attacking 8s in behind him or wherever, that could Give this team a new outlet we've never had. World-class aerial outlet, which would then make sense for your Reece Jameses and Palmers and Co's to play those crosses inside the box because they have someone to play crosses too. Osimhen would be signed with the notion that this is someone that's been there and done that knows how to bag 20 goals a season. I think that's all we need from him realistically. If we got anything more than that, it would be a massive bonus, but goals in the big games, threat in the big games, plus a consistent outlet, that would be what we need in what's set to be a jam-packed season worth of football. Personally, I don't understand why we wouldn't just maybe target Osimhen and keep it at that. That's what I'd probably do. I'd bank on you and I'd bank on Nicolas Jackson. Again, you've heard me say this, but this hold it until you make it approach, I don't ethically think it's the best thing. I don't think it's that fair. And already we have like 7 strikers on the club's books, plus a host of other young strikers like Jimmy J. Morgan, you know, Dujan Richards, and a host of other guys in the PL2 team. It's a ridiculous amount of players to have at one time, and there just isn't realistically enough game time that would really justify the development for anyone to properly make it here. I mean, already we're learning that Dacia Fofana, we're looking to find a loan move with potentially an obligation to buy at the end of that. He's had no time to do anything here. There's been no openings of doors for him to even show what he can do, or even no fair opportunities in preseason where he's not even part of the preseason squad. It already goes to show that we're seeing some of the failures from this type of strategy already. And I just think to myself, are we not like maybe forcing it a bit too much by trying to go for something this ambitious, having 3 top strikers like this? I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. But let's see what happens, my friends, because that is the reports today surrounding this incredible news of the strikers. So share your thoughts and opinions. Do you back this? Are you down? Are you excited? Is the club back again? Or do you kind of feel like, Nini, I just want this season to start. I'm kind of tired of the transfer window. It ain't going to plan like how I thought it would be. And some of the moves we're making just don't make as much sense to me anymore. Where do you fall in this debate? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with some more videos. Cool.